Ready?
Ready.
Here we go.
Hooray!
I think we've done it.
Yay!
Yay! Hey, welcome. Thank you all for tuning in. And I'm Debra Cowan.
I'm Cate Clifford.
And we're going to be spending some time talking about ballots, and we're going to be talking about the Southern New England Apprenticeship Program, that of which we have both been participating in for the last 10 months, I do believe. But first, you gotta have a song. So we're going to start off with a favorite of both of ours, one that I've been singing a lot, mainly with my friend John Roberts, but this time I get to sing it with Cate Clifford. And this is The Broadside Man by John Connolly and Bill Meek.
Come and buy, be a porridge and to rye. Gather round the broadside men and lay your money down. We have ballots long and short, they're the best of every sort. For a single paltry penny, all the news from London town. There are floods in Worcester town, and the rain is tumbling down. A most amazing monster has been captured in the Dee. Here's the bold and stirring tale of the hunting of the whale, and the story of a parson who was pressed away to sea. Come and buy, be a porridge and to rye. Gather round the broadside men and lay your money down. We have ballots long and short, they're the best of every sort. For a single paltry penny, all the news from London town. We've the finest sheets of all, fresh today from Stationers' Hall. A newly written ballad of Lord Nelson's victory, and the news from all the courts, all the cases and reports, and the ranting of a pirate who was hanged from Tyburn Tree. Come and buy, be a porridge and to rye. Gather round the broadside men and lay your money down. We have ballots long and short, they're the best of every sort. For a single paltry penny, all the news of London town. Here's the story of a maid of a brisk and rambling trade, betraying of a tinker who was taken by her charms. The story of a wife, it's the truth upon me life, who came upon her husband rolling in a milkmaid's arms. Come and buy, be a porridge and to rye. Gather round the broadside men and lay your money down. We have ballots long and short, they're the best of every sort. For a single paltry penny, all the news from London town. Broadside Man.
Yay!
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 Welcome to Apprenticeship Finale Day.
I forgot you called it something else last time. What is it? Broadcast?
Oh, the Ballad Broadcasting System.
Right.
Yes.
Or the Ballad Broadcasting Network.
That's it.
So it could be BBN or BBS.
Welcome to the Ballad Broadcasting Network with your hosts, Cate and Debra.
Here we are.
Hi, y'all.
So, something I want to remind you is that because I cannot see the chat. Cate might be able to see the chat. So if you're asking questions or if you're saying things, we may not be able. I can't see it. So
I will do my best to lean forward and check in every once in a while.
Yeah, it's all about leaning forward and me putting on reading glasses and all that kind of stuff.
But we love you and we're really glad you're here.
Absolutely.
It means I get to nerd out to people who aren't Debra about how great ballads are.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So for the last, since September of 2020, Cate and I have been participating in what we call the Southern, what it is called, the Southern New England Apprenticeship Program. This is a program that is sponsored by the Connecticut Historical Society and the Massachusetts Cultural Council. And what we did...
And the NEA, I believe, also.
Well, they funded it.
Yes.
Yeah, they helped to fund it, the National Endowment for the Arts, not the National Education Association. And this is a program that was established we applied for and received a grant for people, for mentors and mentees, mentors and apprentices. There we go. Mentors and apprentices to get together, and I, as the mentor, would impart my vast knowledge upon my apprentice, Cate. And what we chose to study and research and do some really deep digging into was traditional songs of the English-speaking world. And those include traditional ballads, broadsides, and any other kinds of songs that we've come into contact with. Mm-hmm. It's been an amazing, amazing year. And as all of you know, there was this little thing called a pandemic that interrupted everything that we were supposed to do, because we were supposed to meet physically and do singing together and all kinds of things. But because of the lockdown, we had to meet via Zoom. And it actually, we weathered it.
We did. And because vaccinations are beautiful and fabulous, and we're both very lucky, we got to do the last few meetings of the apprenticeship in person, which was absolutely marvelous. Not just because we got to be around other people and sing safely, but also because, that is each other, but also because every time Deb comes to my house, she says, "Hi, welcome to Ballad Day. I brought you a present." And usually that present is either a ballad collection or a ballad book for me to look through, or something else that I just get incredibly excited about. So that's just been an absolute delight. By the way, if you're interested in SNEEP, which is the acronym for the program we've been involved in, applications are currently open and close on the 31st. So if you have a traditional art that you would like to learn, a traditional art form that you would like to learn, as long as your mentor is from a different New England state than you are, and as long as you're both somewhere in New England, you can apply for the thing, and you should.
I'm from Massachusetts, and
I'm from Rhode Island.
And we are here in Cate's living room in Rhode Island. One of the things that the pandemic did with all the online stuff was it prepared us to do this, because one of the requirements for the grant is that we give a public performance showcasing our art that we had been studying. And so all of the experience doing online stuff helped us to prepare for this moment. And what's really cool is we can do this. We're going to have an audience from all over the world.
Yay!
Instead of just somebody coming to a gazebo in Winchester, Massachusetts or something.
By the way, shout out to Cate Schramm and or Winnie Lambrecht if they are here. They're the mavens of the program who've been guiding us. So
and Maggie Holtzberg.
And Maggie, who I haven't actually met. Hi, Maggie.
From the Massachusetts. Cate is from the Connecticut Historical Society. Winnie is from
Winnie's the Rhode Island rep.
And Maggie is with the Massachusetts Cultural Council. So yes, big shout out to them.
Hi guys. Oh, Lynn Knowles here. Hi, Lynn.
So, Cate.
Yes.
Tell us what we've been doing.
Oh, my nerve. Well, let's start with broadsides, shall we? Because, so I knew Broadside Man because Deb and John sing it together, but I got really, really interested in it and asked Deb if we could learn it for this performance because I got to learn a lot about what broadsides actually are and where they come from and how old they are. They actually started in the 1500s, which made my little nerd heart happy because I am a giant Shakespeare lover. And he was around in the late 1590s and the early 1600s. So broadsides began in the 1500s and went through until about the 1890s-ish. Well, they were displaced by about the 1850s, but they completely petered out by the 1890s. But they were essentially the news of the day, the newspapers of the day. So they were everything the song says, right? There was gossip, there was newspaper articles, there was good nights, which were songs that were written or statements that were written from the perspective of people who were going to be hanged for a crime, and those were usually highly moral, usually not written by the person who was actually going to die, but intended to stop people from murdering each other, and also for a little bit of salacious reading. I love good nights. I'm particularly excited about them. But there was also, what else were they? Let's see. Sometimes they were ballads and sometimes they were not. Sometimes they were recited and sometimes they were sung.
And why were they called broadsides?
Because they were printed on one broad sheet of paper, which is essentially the size and shape of a modern day newspaper. They were also intended to be hung up basically like posters on buildings a lot of the time, because they were also often advertisements for events that were going to happen.
So this is one of the reasons why I love working with Cate, because she digs so deep into a subject that I learned something. I learned a few things just now.
Oh, yeah?
I did not realize they were called good nights. I knew they existed, but
Yeah.
I didn't realize that was the name of those. So
When-
there you go.
Yeah, when it's the final confession of a criminal, it's called a good night.
So do you have another broadside you can sing for us?
Well, I mean, I could sing you a good night if you really want.
Sure, let's hear a good night.
This is actually one of the first ballads that I learned. I got the melody from Sarah Lynch Thomason, and the words come from the Frank C. Brown collection. This is a good night from the perspective of Frankie Silver, who was the first white woman hanged in, I want to say, Morgantown, North Carolina. She was killed when she was 17, and she was accused of killing her husband with an axe. We now think that perhaps he was abusive to her, but at the time, in the good night, she is painted as doing it out of jealousy. The child she mentions, Israel, they did have a baby daughter named Nancy, who was a year old when her father was killed. It's a whole thing. I got into this song because I have family from the area of North Carolina where Frankie killed her husband. By the way, the song Frankie and Johnny is not actually related to this story, although some people say it is. I am going to grab my words just in case. But this is the Ballad of Frankie Silver. I actually sing an edited version because I don't like the moralizing that happens in Good Nights. So this is my version of that. Where did it go? This always happens. Really long intros mean that you lose your song. This dreadful, dark, and dismal day has swept my glories all away. My sun is down, my days are past, and I must leave this world at last. Oh Lord, what will become of me? I am condemned, you all now see. To heaven or hell my soul must fly, oh, in a moment when I die. Judge Daniels has my sentence passed. These prison walls I leave at last. Nothing to cheer my drooping head until I'm numbered with the dead. Then shall I see that mournful face, whose blood I spilled upon this place. With flaming eyes to me he'll Why did you take my life away? Oh no. I've gone blank. Then on a dark and doleful night, I put the body out of sight. With flames I tried to him consume, but time would not admit it done. I have to stop. I'm so sorry. I have to stop. The words are completely out of my brain. It's, thank you for bearing with me, guys. It's much longer than that. It's really great. You should look it up. I knew this was going to happen with at least something.
It happens to everybody.
Oh boy.
More times than I can count. But it's a beautiful, it's a sad song. Yeah. Why did you choose to sing that one besides the location and the North Carolina connection? Mm-hmm. What was it about that particular song that drew you in?
Well, I mean, I love that it connects to that branch of my family, of course, but I also really love the incredibly vivid imagery. There is a verse that I didn't get to that where she talks about when she goes to hell, she's going to see all these dreadful ghosts with flaming eyes who are going to put her on trial for murder of the first degree. Mm-hmm. And that's such a vivid image to me. It really drives home the story in a really clear way. And there are some turns of phrase in the ballad that I specifically sing them to try to bring forward the story that she was abused and that he was the jealous one, and that that's actually what happened, as opposed to the fake lore that was attached to when the ballad was written by a school teacher a couple of years after she was hanged.
Vivid images. That's so important in looking at these ballads. And one of the things that's so cool about studying the collections and all the different versions and variants is there may be a version or a variant that you find and it's a crap version. I mean, really, you find it and it's like number 14A in the whole section, and it's really a crap version of the ballad. But then you go back, you find one or two lines in that crap version where the lines are just really, really good.
Yeah.
So, and I always say, well, then I can take these lines and I can put them in a better version that I found in another section of the collection.
Right. And we've had quite a few conversations about
yes,
this.
We have. Yes, we have.
I am... So first of all, it makes me think of Shakespeare. Because in Shakespeare's time, we have the versions... We have, in some cases, multiple versions of his plays. We have the folio and or the quarto and or something else. And sometimes when someone of particular standing was going to be in the audience, they would decide, you know what, take out that love scene and put in that extra battle because this particular person, like, example, the queen really loved dancing. And so if there was an extra party scene, they would swap out a battle for the party scene because Her Majesty was going to be there and that would make her happier. And so that gives me permission to make changes to the songs that I learn, because it's been done for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. And in the research that I've done with the apprenticeship, I read that the bards who were originally singing traditional ballads are said to have also swapped out and changed lines. Either because they couldn't remember what they were going to sing and were better at ad-libbing lyrics than I am, or because maybe somebody in particular was in the room or whatever. But there are some stock phrases that show up a lot, like milk white steed or lily white hand, or, you know, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. But changing ballads is okay and allowed. This is a living tradition. I really want to hear and learn and sing the oldest versions of things that I can find. But the frustrating thing about these collections is that there's a lot of missing pieces. There's a lot of missing lines. There's a lot of, you can't hear what the source singer is singing, or the person collecting couldn't hear it, so they just left that line blank. So we are forced to take ownership of the songs we learn on a level that I was not totally comfortable with until now.
Yeah, it's so let's talk about the collections.
Yay, good.
Because one thing that I'm interested in is one of the things that this program enabled us to do was to give Cate access to a full set of child ballad books, and Cecil Sharp, folk songs from Southern Appalachia, and also Bertrand Bronson. If you're not familiar with these collections, Francis James Child, I think most of the people who are watching probably know who he was, but just in case, when we talk about a child ballad, we're not talking about children's songs, as some people have accused me of singing awful children's songs, and I'm just like, no. Francis James Child was a Harvard lecturer. He was also a lover of folk songs, and we kind of call him, I guess, some of the other people on the chat or on this video who are watching might have might know a lot more about this, but I call him the father of ballad collecting, because he was the one who put it into an organized volumes and cataloged them. I think the most interesting thing about these collections is that he never left the United States.
Right, which I didn't know until we started looking into ballads. I didn't know that until I started this apprenticeship. I thought that Francis James Child was like, you know, going all over England because he was rich and could. But he didn't do that. He never left Boston.
Nope. And he, the child collection is called the English and Scottish Popular Songs. Mm-hmm. Of the, is there, no, just English and Scottish popular songs.
Popular ballads.
Songs. Is it ballads?
Oh my God, have I been wrong all this time?
I could have been wrong.
It's right over there. What's it say?
I can't read that. I can't see anything. Anyway, but he did not include Irish songs, mm-hmm. or Irish ballads, which, mm-hmm. No, you're right, it is ballads, now that I think about it. But he didn't, and I'm not sure if that's because he just didn't have any correspondence in Ireland, but most of his correspondence were in Scotland and England. And so that's why the child collection is just English and Scots ballads. So we got Cate a set of child. Yay. We got Cate a set of the English folk songs from Southern Appalachia, which were collected by Cecil Sharp, who was an English folk song collector, and who came over to Appalachia right around the start of World War I.
Yep, 1914.
And he produced this volume along with the help of his assistant,
Maud Carpleys.
And
all of Dame Campbell also helped and added some tunes.
Right. And then the third thing that we were able to get to her was volumes that were produced, I think, in the 1950s from Bertrand Bronson, who was able to study the source recordings and transcribe the tunes. So the only tunes that we had were from the recordings until Bronson came along.
Right.
And of course, other people have put tunes to the ballads.
Sure.
So what I am interested in is if you could just, in a few sentences, what were 2 or 3 things that you learn now that you've internalized about the collections?
Well, I think the biggest one, and I don't know if this counts as a cop-out or not, but I think the biggest one is that these people were people, which is to say, particularly in the folk trad bubble, I think that not only do we put these men and women on pedestals, but they also become ideas, at least to me, because they constantly get referred to and referenced, but we don't know much about, or their lives, their feelings, their careers, their who they were as humans doesn't get as much airtime as what they brought us or what they gave us. There is a little bit more being done about Sharp, particularly as relates to some problematic bits of his collecting, which are being discussed rather than just dictated, which I appreciate. And there has been some work done about Eloise Hubbard Linscott and Nora and Olive Dame Campbell. Alex Cumming is sharing a lot of information about her. But I feel like I have made friends in looking at these collections. Because, for example, when I was reading the introduction I read all the introductions because A, I'm that much of a nerd, and B, because I wanted to know about these people as humans. And my favorite part of the introduction to Child is a quote from a letter that he wrote where he says, "I have had my high festival today. The fine rain made everything grow surprisingly last night, and the green, all full of fire, the unnamed grace, was no suggestion of art or consciousness. With no suggestion of art or consciousness are too much for words. Ah, what a world! With roses, sunrise and sunset, Shakespeare, Beethoven, brooks, mountains, birds, maids, ballads. Why can't it last? Why can't everybody have a good share?" Professor Francis James Child, in a letter to a friend, reportedly written after gardening and working on his ballad collection. He's just a human being who's a giant romantic who really just loves beautiful things and songs and nature, and that made me more interested in learning what he had collected. That made me more interested in knowing the songs that he found, because he was no longer a marble bust in my head. He was somebody that I remember when I read that, I was like, I think I want to have tea with Professor Child. I feel like we would have gotten along.
Be careful what you wish for.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. Maybe someday in another plane. But I had a similar experience with Sharp. There's in the introduction that Sheila K. Adams writes to English folk songs of the Southern Appalachians, she quotes a relative of hers talking about Sharp and Carpley's and what they were like as people. And I had the same experience of not quite necessarily wanting to be friends with them, but of getting a fuller picture of who they were, which then made me care more about what they have given us. And I think that that's part of carrying on the tradition, is knowing who you're carrying it on from and having that context. It's the same thing as having historical context for what you sing.
Absolutely, which we have talked about a lot. Do you have a child ballad for us?
Do I have a child ballad for you? I have child ballads, but not out of the book exactly yet.
I have versions of child ballads, which
Well, we all
I
have
have-
versions.
right.
They're all versions.
Right. So I have some learning to do when it comes to child's.
Do you have one for us that you can sing?
I haven't gotten one out of the book yet.
Oh,
actually.
okay. Okay. Well,
soon,
I will do one then.
please.
I will do one.
Oh, are you going to do the one that made me geek out really hard?
I am going to do the one that made you geek out really hard because
That's great.
one of the ballads that we talked about a lot is True Thomas or Thomas the Rhymer, which again you definitely geeked out on this one because when we initially talked about it, Kate would always say to me, "What's my homework?" And me being the laid-back hippie teacher that I am, I go, study Thomas the Rhymer.
Right. Well,
Study True Thomas. And so the next time we'd meet,
sorry.
she would come back and she would have background and background and background and background and deep. She obviously really took some time to understand where this ballad came from. And one of the things I love about you is that, well, I love a lot of things about you, is that
I'm not paying her to say this. I just want everyone to know.
is that you are so fascinated by things that came before.
Thank you.
And you were so interested in where this ballad came from. And one of the things I was telling her about was, well, I have a version of Thomas the Rhymer or True Thomas that is actually a contemporary version, which we're also allowed to do. And many people have done this. In fact, you can look at somebody like Bob Dylan, who looked at the child ballads extensively and wrote his own, but used the ballad form. Just read the words of The Girl from the North Country.
Yeah.
There it is. Boots of Spanish leather. But this one is one that was written by my friend Danny Carnahan in San Francisco. And it's his, and he reworked the lyrics and wrote a tune. And I just think it's a nice, and he's the one who suggested that I learn it. And he suggested that about 20 years ago, and now I'm finally getting to it. So this is his version of True Thomas. I'm not sure if I'll be able to read that, but... Thomas lay upon the grassy banks, beheld a lady gay, come riding o'er so brisk and bold along the ferny brae. And her skirt was of the grass silk so green, and the cloak of velvet fine, and at each toss her horse's mane rang 50 bells and 9. And Thomas did salute her, bowing down upon one knee. And he said, well met, enchanting one, you're the flower of this country. And as he gazed upon her, oh so blind with love was he, that he has kissed her ruby lips all beneath the Eildon tree. Oh, now you've kissed me, Thomas, you must ride away with me to serve my will for 7 years, whate'er the chance may be. And she's mounted on her snow-white steed, pulled Thomas up behind, and I each time her bridle rang, they flew swift as the wind. And on they rode and farther on, till they spied a garden green, and she said, lie down, dear Thomas, for we're near my fair country. Take
golden tree. The broad road leads to the gates of hell, though fair it seems to be. But see you not yon farther road, winding round the lily lea? That is the road to my fair land, whence you must go with me. But hold your tongue, dear Thomas, and answer only unto me. For should you speak unto another, your own home you ne'er shall see. When Thomas came into the hall, oh, a well-bred man was he. They asked him questions one and all, but not one word spoketh he. It's of woven clouds he's made the roof, and of flowered vines the walls, and jewels that showered down as rain that night among them all. And each day brought Thomas wonders never seen by mortal eye, and each night brought Thomas wonders as next the lady he did lie. But she's rose and said, dear Thomas, now it's time you were away. For 7 years have passed and gone, though it seems like 7 days. If it's 7 years, my lady, since my face on earth is seen, pray give to me some token that I may prove where I have been. And it's on they rode, and farther on to the Huntley banks rode she, and she set him down upon the ground beside the Eildon tree. As you'd have a token, Thomas, a fair token shall it be, for the gift I give you, Thomas, is a tongue that cannot lie. And he's cried, I pray you, lady, and give not this gift to me. For how may I counsel prince or lord, or court a fair lady? Be careful in your silence, as you're careful what you say. May your truth outlive them all, she said. And she turned and rode away. True Thomas by Danny Carnahan.
God, that's so beautiful.
Yes, Danny has a wonder. That's another thing about some songwriters who study the tradition, and Danny has definitely studied the tradition and took a ballad, a child ballad, and massaged it and reworked it, and was true to the story.
A child ballad, which, by the way, no, I won't give you the whole geek out, but this is a child ballad that's about a man who really lived. Thomas the Rhymer was a real person in, I want to say, the 13th century, I believe, maybe the 12th. And Child believes that the story of Thomas the Rhymer, the ballad of Thomas the Rhymer, is actually based off of a very old French poem called Ogier the Dane, specifically a portion of that poem where Morgan Le Fay of the King Arthur legend leads Ogier the Dane to Avalon because he's that level of hero, that's the sort of rest he deserves. And they end up falling in love, and it's as they say, it's a whole thing. But as a lifelong King Arthur lover, I was immediately drawn to that ballad. But I didn't like any of the melodies that Bronson had, so I didn't learn it. Yet.
Well, and this is as someone who became aware of these ballads through folk rock. I remember my very first acquaintance or introduction to Thomas the Rhymer was through Steel Eye Span. And it wasn't until a good 12 years later that I actually stumbled upon the ballads in my college library. So, but the thing that I love about Thomas and this ballad is he can't lie. And I have that same problem. I cannot lie.
Good.
I cannot lie. And so I always wonder if there's, in the creation of some of these ballads, if there's some kind of something that is true about a person that sparks maybe the creation of this.
Right,
of these.
especially because he was a real person.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Yeah. So the collections, we've done some real deep dives into the collections, and some of I'll be really honest here, we've had some very uncomfortable conversations about the context, the historical context in which these ballads were created, and there's certainly a lot of songs that I will not sing because of some of the language, and I think that's pretty much true across the board for many of the people in our community. And I think what's been really neat about working with Cate and also getting to know a lot of her contemporaries is they're pointing out a lot of this uncomfortable language in these songs, and in a lot of instances are actually changing the language. And I always say, as long as the story is maintained, go for it.
well, and that's again, it's a living tradition, right? It's in order to keep the songs being sung, in order to perpetuate social singing and perpetuate traditional ballad singing, you have to change them because either there's an outdated term that's going to make somebody feel like less of a person if they hear you sing it, or there's an outdated term because that kind of job doesn't exist anymore, or there's an outdated term because we don't use that instrument anymore. So there will sometimes be updates that are needed or are desired, or again, you might have in the original, in the prized and delicate and precious collection, there might be missing words, or there might be a whole missing verse, or there might be a whole gap in the story, and you gotta figure out how you're gonna fill it, and you have to do it respectfully.
Sure.
So,
and respecting the songs. That's something that another thing I love about you. This is also kind of the this is Praise Cate, the Praise Cate hour. But seriously,
listen, it's the Praise Deb hour too. You're the one who says, "Oh, you think ballads can't have choruses? Sit down."
That's true, and we talked about that too. We talked about how you can take a ballad that doesn't have a chorus and massage it to put a chorus in there.
Put a refrain in.
To put a refrain in.
And there's a lot of ballads that already have them.
Right.
There's a lot of ballads that already have choruses that are made for group singing. That the divide between ballad sings and pub sings is only as firm as you want it to be. If a song tells a story that has a beginning and a middle and an end, it's a ballad. Done. As long as it has a tune. It has to have a tune. But if it's got a tune and it tells a story with a beginning, middle, and end, boom, you have a ballad. Done. End of story. It can have a refrain. It can have a chorus. It cannot. All of those things are true. And I feel very, very strongly about this, and I'm deeply grateful specifically to be apprenticing Deb, because you bring that into every performance you do.
Well, it's respect for the song. It's and that's what is so cool about you, is you also have a very healthy respect for the song. And I've always said for many years, this is not about me. I'm just the messenger. The song is the star, and the songs I choose to sing are songs that have great, just great images and great things. Oh, she's reading the chat. Okay.
You are getting some serious love in the chat, Deb. Yes, excellent.
It's all blurry to me. I do see some hearts there. That's nice. That's nice.
Can we save the chat so we can read it later?
I do believe we can.
Excellent. Oh,
I
good.
think we can.
I can't.
think we can.
It's making me really sad not to be able to talk directly to people when they're telling us
Well,
things.
we can do that. We can do that
Cool.
just a little bit later. But one of the things I also wanted to talk about is you and I have also found a common theme with it that we both really adhere to is the theme of women in these songs.
Yeah.
And I know for me, it's something that drove me to design my Women in the Sea program. And we've talked a lot about women in these songs and how they're depicted, how they're treated. I thought we'd do the Nantucket Girls song.
Oh yeah.
Because we had a request for this
Yes. Excellent. Yes.
from my brother, who's probably not even on this thing. So,
Well, and while we're talking about women in these songs, can we please also give a shout out first to Helen Creighton, with whom I am now
yes.
fully in love. What a fabulous collector and human being she was. Oh my god. And also Helen Hartness Flanders. Woohoo, of course. And also Gardner and Chickering, who collected in Michigan, I believe it was, and who I did not know were women until this year.
and I didn't even know they existed until somebody told me they did.
Thank you, Judy Cook,
So-
for putting them in my radar.
So it was-
I could tell Deb.
It was just like, okay, the apprentice has now surpassed the mentor here. So let's see, what did I say we were starting on? What note did I say we were starting on? That's the wrong page.
It's A, no?
Oh no, we're starting on a D.
I'm so glad we looked it up.
Yes. I need to get that. This is a song that was given to me from a mutual friend of ours named Jeff Kaufman.
Jeff.
One of our sea music people, sea music movers and shakers, and he asked me to learn it for the 150th anniversary of the Charles W. Morgan, which was celebrated at Mystic Seaport Sea Music Festival, which is no longer happening, but we won't go into that. And so what was really funny was Jeff called me on my voicemail and sang it to me on my voicemail, which I thought was really funny. So I did a little digging and research, and it turns out it's a poem that I thought was written by this woman whose diary it appears in, that's on exhibit at the Nantucket Maritime Museum. And then Cate just reminded me
This morning. I just found this out.
That it's actually a poem that was group written by a group of women whose husbands were in the whaling industry. And
They lived on one of the islands that so Eliza Brock, whose diary it's in, her husband was, I believe, a captain on a ship,
yes.
and she wrote it in the ship log, but she got it from Martha Ford, who was one of these women, who was the wife of a physician on one of the islands the ship went to.
Right. So again, I learn things. I learn things from The Apprentice all the time.
Just call me Hermione Granger, it's fine.
So this is the Nantucket Girls song, and I had been singing it the way Jeff sang it on my voicemail, and then Cate found it on the Nantucket Historical website, and it turns out I'd been singing some of the lines incorrectly. So and this is what happens when you sing a song for years and years and years, and then all of a sudden it gets changed. So hopefully I have a G as a starting note.
It's D.
It's D. Ah, there we go. Okay, here we go. I have made up my mind now to be a sailor's wife, to have a purse full of money and a very easy life. For a clever sailor husband is so seldom at his home that his wife can spend the dollars with a will that's all her own. So I'll haste to wed a sailor and send him off to sea.
For a life of independence is the very life for me. But every now and then I would like to see his face, for it always seems to me to be with a manly grace, with his brow so nobly open and his dark and kindly eye. My heart beats fondly for him whenever he is nigh. But when he says goodbye, my love, I am off across the sea. First I'll cry for his departure, then I'll laugh because I'm free. Yet I'll welcome him most gladly whenever he returns, and share with him so cheerfully all the money that he earns. For he's my loving husband, though he lives the roving life. And well I know how good it is to be a sailor's wife.
Nantucket Girl Song.
Nantucket Girl Song. Ah, yes, an
Damn,
oldie but
fun
good
to
old.
sing with. Good Lord.
Well, we'll just have to do more of it.
Yes, please.
One of your passions, besides Shakespeare and the 1500s, 16th century, is Robin Hood.
Yes, it's true.
So I would love to have you sing your Robin Hood ballad,
Oh, okay.
because it's got a little chorus, refrain, whatever you want to call it.
Which
Is that
one?
Green Wedding? Isn't that a Robin
Oh,
Hood?
oh. Well, I thought it was.
Oh, but it's not.
It's not a green. No, it's not. So, when I was looking through ballads, I found this one, which is called The Green Wedding and was collected by Cecil Sharp in England, not in the Appalachians, not in Appalachia, rather. And it mentions merry men, and it mentions wearing green to a wedding. And so I was like, oh, look, Robin Hood. There must be some sort of Robin Hood connection. But it turns out that traditionally there was a belief that if you wore green, or rather, if someone wore green to the wedding, they might be a fairy and they might try to steal someone away. This is also why bridesmaids and groomsmen exist. Bridesmaids existed to confuse the fairies and to confuse malevolent spirits so that they wouldn't steal the bride away. That's why the bridesmaids wear exactly the same color and style of dress originally as brides did.
Learn something new every day.
Yeah, it's a whole thing. I'm going to stop now so we actually get to sing the thing. But this is called The Green Wedding, and I learned it from Jack Langstaff. Sometimes you have to start with the chorus so you have the melody. There was a squire lived in the east, a squire of high degree, and he courted of a country girl, a comely maid was she. But when her father heard of it, an angry man was he. He requested of his daughter dear to shun his company. To my rally-dally-dido, rally-dally-day, to my rally-dally-dido, rally-dally-day. There was a farmer lived close by, he had an only son, who came courting of this girl, until her love he thought he'd won. Her mother gave him her consent, her father his likewise, until she cried, I am undone, and tears fell from her eyes. To my rally-dally-dido, rally-dally-day, to my rally-dally-dido, rally-dally-day. She wrote the squire a letter, she sealed it with her hand. She said, this day I'm to be wed unto another man. The first two lines he looked upon, he smiled and thus did say, oh, I may deprive him of his bride all on his wedding day.
To my rally-dally-di-do, rally-dally-day. To my rally-dally-di-do, rally-dally-day. He wrote her back a letter. Go dress yourself in green, in a suit all of the same. At your wedding I'll be seen. In a suit all of the same, to your wedding I'll repair. Oh, my dearest dear, I'll have you yet, in spite of all that's there. To my rally-dally-di-do, rally-dally-day. To my rally-dally-di-do, rally-dally-day. He looked east, he looked west, he looked all o'er his land, and there came to him full 80 men, all of a Scottish band. He mounted them on milk-white steeds, a single man rode he, and all the way to the wedding hall went the company dressed in green. To my rally-dally-di-do, rally-dally-day. To my rally-dally-di-do, rally-dally-day. When they came to the wedding hall, they unto him did say, You are welcome, sir, you're welcome, sir, where have you spent the day? He laughed at them, he scorned at them, and unto them did say, Perhaps you saw my merry men come riding all this way. To my rally-dally-di-do, rally-dally-day. To my rally-dally-di-do, rally-dally-day. The squire, he took a glass of wine and filled it to the brim. Here's a health unto the man, said he, the man they call the groom. Here's health unto the man, says he, who may enjoy his bride, though another man may love her too, and take her from his side. To my rally-dally-di-do, rally-dally-day. To my rally-dally-di-do, rally-dally-day. Then up and spoke the farmer's son, an angry man was he. If it's to fight that you've come here, 'tis I'm the man for thee. It's not to fight that I've come here, but friendship for to show. Let me kiss your bonny bride, and away from thee I'll go. To my rally-dally-di-do, rally-dally-day. To my rally-dally-di-do, rally-dally-day. He took her by the waist so small, and by the grass-green sleeve, and led her from the wedding hall, of no one asking leave. The band did play, the bugle sound, most glorious to be seen, and all the way to Edinburgh town went the company dressed in green. To my rally-dally-di-do, rally-dally-day. To my rally-dally-di-do, rally-dally-day. The Green Wedding, also known as the Squire of Edinburgh Town, or Catherine Jeffreys, which I love.
Oh, I love that. I think it's great.
Thanks. It's really great for pub sings because it's got a chorus.
Yeah. No, it's great with choruses. Excellent. So, going forward, what now for you?
Oh boy. Well, thing the first, I'm gonna spend a lot more time with Child. Because I do actually really want to learn something out of that collection. I haven't found a song that has pulled me in yet. His version, anyway. But I also would really like to spend more time with Helen Creighton. I'd like to read her book. I'd like to read her books, actually. She has one of ghost tales, and she has one of magic and folklore. And she is, for those of you who don't know, she's a collector who collected in Nova Scotia. She collected also from the native peoples of Nova Scotia, not just from the white people who were around at the time. And she also collected some, I believe she collected some French-Canadian songs, not just English ones. She was a writer, and she was
she was involved in radio, which speaks to me because my parents both were, and that's where they met. But Helen Creighton is great. I want to read her books. I am really excited to delve into those collections, and you have given me the gifts of the Harry Smith collection and also of the Peacock collection, which is another Canadian collection.
Right.
I'm really looking forward to those. I want eventually to find an English translation of Ogier the Dane, find the section that is child thought, the inspiration for the Thomas the Rhymer ballad, and then put it to probably the Bronson melody, but maybe something else. I do want to make that someday. I have not made it yet, but I would like to make that someday. Just to appease my King Arthur heart.
It was funny because Kate was calling our study of Flanders, Helen Hartness Flanders and Helen Creighton, the tale of the two Helens, and because I had done a lot of research almost 20 years ago in the Helen Hartness Flanders collection and learning a lot about her and who she was. And one of the things that I did when I was researching that collection was I made several trips to the Library of Congress, to the American Folklife Center, and up to Middlebury College, where Mrs. Flanders had donated the collection as part of her estate. We were going to do that.
God, someday.
When we wrote the proposal for the grant, we had that written in because we thought, well, this will be over by September. This will be over by the end of the year. And we still, well, no, it was not to be.
Narrator voice. They were wrong.
So, but one of the things that we did get a chance to do a few times in our meetings was this is again one of the positives about meeting online. We were able to have a couple of guest speakers.
Yes.
And one of our guest speakers was Jennifer Cutting.
Hi, Jennifer, if you're here.
From the American Folklife Center, who was a student under A.L. Lloyd or Bert Lloyd in
who are
England.
the same person, by the way, which I did not know until we started doing this work.
Who are the same person. And it was just lovely to speak with Jennifer and have her tell us all about her experience studying under Bert Lloyd.
And she's one that I've heard a lot about for the years that I've been in Providence, but have never had occasion to actually cross paths with, so it was really lovely to finally put a face to the name.
And the other person that we got to meet virtually was Brian Peters, who is a wonderful singer and folklorist and ballad singer.
I would call him a sharp scholar also.
Well, that I was just about to say that. Great minds. Yeah. But yeah, he has definitely studied Cecil Sharp quite extensively. Wrote a very detailed and extensive paper for the English Dance and Folk Song Society in England.
And was kind enough to spend some time with us answering my questions about Sharp and sharing his views, and that was just such a joy. It was so much fun. It's really particularly delightful to get to talk about this stuff with other people who are really into it and really excited about it and really knowledgeable too. And you know, I gotta say, one of my favorite things about doing this apprenticeship is that I've had a space where I can say things like, hey Deb, what's the deal with A.L. Lloyd and Bert Lloyd? Were they a father and son or what? And then you can go, oh no, they were the same person. And I can go, oh great, thank you. And I could ask that in a space where I didn't have to worry about being judged, or I didn't have to worry about stopping a workshop, or I didn't have to feel silly. I could just go, hey, just checking in on this factoid that I'm not so sure about. What's going on here? That's been really, really, really helpful.
Well, and it's also been one of the things about this too is that we have talked a lot about the folk revival and the history of that, because it was through the revival that I became acquainted with a lot of this material. Well, as I said, I always say I came in through the back door because I came in through folk rock. I mean, Steel Ice Band and Fairport Convention and all of those those groups were my gateway drug into the ballads. So have we got, Kate's looking at the chat. So
Yes.
what have we got?
Let's see.
Shall we take some questions, or
Oh my gosh, shall
more,
we?
more singing, or what
Oh
should we
my.
do here? Order a pizza? I don't know.
No, let's wait till we get to New York to order some pizza.
I'm not going
I'm
to
a
New
pizza
York.
snob. Someday. Margaret Walters
Margaret!
is here. Hello,
Oh my
Margaret.
gosh.
Hi.
Are you staying up all night, Margaret? Is it what? It must
Oh,
be
Thank you for being here.
afternoon there next day.
Wow. Maybe I should sing the Goblin's Riddle.
Oh,
I got that from Margaret.
oh, Margaret. There you go. You're a source.
Yeah.
This is the other thing that we were talking about earlier, is that I am very appreciative of Kate's generation. I might have already said this here, but I'm just really appreciative that Kate's generation and her peers are taking on these songs and studying them and researching them, because those of us who are a generation before, or even 2 generations before, there was a wee bit of time where we were worried, a little worried, that these songs might not be carried on, or there wouldn't be a lot of people in our younger sets to
Margaret
carry
says
on.
it's Thursday morning and we're getting requests for more singing, so I'm going to do Goblin's Riddle.
Then do Goblin's Riddle, definitely.
Which I got from the singing of Margaret, although she did not write it herself. And Margaret, I hope this is okay. Let me know if it's not. I added a refrain because I wanted to bring it to the pub sing so everybody could hear it once it's safe for us to gather and do that again. It was a cold and a blustery day. The wind was in the trees, oh, so high and low did it howl away as it whistled through the leaves. The clouds, they fled across the sky in rags and ribbons blue, and the day was dark and cold, for oh, the wintry winds they blew. And the day was dark and cold, for oh, the wintry winds they blew. It was a cold and a blustery day. My love and I, we wandered all along in the wilder wood. We rambled hand in hand. We came abreast of an oaken tree, and there we were surprised, for out there jumped a goblin man. He was dressed in leafy guise, oh, he was clothed from head to toe in green as green can be, oh. With a leafy head and a leafy beard, he looked just like a tree. He said, I have a riddle, you must answer it for me. For you know I am the old green man, the keeper of the trees, oh. For you know I am the old green man, the keeper of the trees, oh. What 'tis that grows just like a leaf, but not from any tree, oh, and can't be picked by any thief, no matter who he be, and can't be seen by any man, but can be seen to be, and can't be touched by any hand, but it's surely touching thee, oh, and can't be touched by any hand, but it's surely touching thee, oh. My love and I, we both sat down, we were in great despair, oh, for an answer to that riddle we should surely never find. Well, an hour had passed, and then at last the answer came to me, and up I sprang to the goblin man. I have it here for thee, oh. Well, the answer, 'tis true love, says I, and you must set us free, oh. The goblin, he did rant and rave, you have cheated me. He stamped his foot not once, but twice, and then he disappeared. And the wind it dropped, and the sun came out, and the day was bright and clear, oh. And the wind it dropped, and the sun came out, and the day was bright and clear, oh. Goblin's Riddle.
Thank you, Margaret, for giving us that song.
Thank you, Margaret.
For giving Kate that song.
I love it so.
So more singing, huh? Okay.
Oh, we have more songs from you on that
Yes.
list.
Yes. Well, this is a new one, actually.
Oh, good. I love this one so much.
One of the advantages of working with John Roberts for the last 14 years?
Oh, I'm sorry. I have to interrupt you just to say Margaret has kindly provided that song was written by Bernard Parry. Thank you, Margaret.
Oh, Bernie Perry! Oh my gosh!
Naturally, you know him.
Of course
you
I
do.
know Bernie.
Naturally.
Bernie is a fixture in West Yorkshire. Yorkshire. I don't know if I said that right. No, Bernie. Oh my gosh, I've known Bernie for years. I didn't know he wrote that. There we go. Well, one of the things about working with John Roberts is that whenever we do a gig, he always sings something new that I've never heard before. And
So you're pulling a John, is what you're telling
I am
me.
pulling a John.
Great.
Well, sort of.
Great. We love that.
Because I've been meaning to learn this ever since I heard him sing it, and I finally decided to do it. So this is a New England version of a child ballad.
Yay.
This is a version of Willie of Winsbury, but was collected in the Adirondacks, which is not quite New England, but for this purposes we'll say it was. Was collected in the Adirondacks from a woman named Lily Delorme. And
good name.
yeah, but it also appears in Flanders. It also appears, and I think it was collected. There's three sources for this particular ballad. It's called Johnny Barber, and one of the things I noticed is in the child version or the Scots version, because it's originally a Scots ballad. The father says. So this is in the Scots version. The father says, "Have you some sore sickness or been sleeping with a man?"
Oh.
And in the New England version, it says, "Have you some sore sickness or are you in love with a man?" So I think there's something about the New England puritanical sensibility that they changed it.
Maybe
So-
there are more Puritans in the Adirondacks than we knew about.
Oh, I wouldn't doubt it.
I can
So-
say that I'm from New York.
So this is Johnny Barber, and I'm still kind of learning it, but I think I might have it down. Now I have to remember the tune. There was a lady lived in the east. Her dress was of the green, and every town that she rode through, they took her to be a queen. They took her to be a queen. As she sat on her father's castle wall, a viewing the ships coming in, says her father to his daughter dear, "What makes your cheeks look so pale and thin? What makes your cheeks look so pale and thin? Oh, have you got some sore sickness, or in love with a young man?" "I have not got some sore sickness, I'm in love with a fine young man. I'm in love with a fine young man."
called together. Oh, is he a lord or is he a duke, or a man of honor and fame? Neither lord nor duke nor of honor and fame, but he's one of your bold sea boys. Johnny Barber is his name. Then he's called together his merry men all, by one, by two, by three. For tomorrow morning at 10 of the clock, high hanged he shall be. Johnny Barber hanged shall be. Oh, say not so, dear father, she said. Oh, say not so unto me. For if you were to hang Johnny Barber, she said, no good you'll get of me, no good you'll get of me. And he's called together his merry men all, by one, by two, by three. Johnny Barber was always the very first man, but the very last man was he, the very last man was he. And when John Barber he came down, his suit was of the green, with his coal black eyes a rolling in his head, and his skin as fair as the cream, his skin as fair as the cream. Oh, will you marry my daughter, he said, and take her by the hand? Oh yes, will you walk with her and talk with her, be the heir to my houses and lands, be the heir to my houses and lands. Oh yes, I will marry your daughter, he said, and I'll take her by the hand. I will walk with her, I will talk with her, but a fig for your houses and lands, a fig for your houses and lands. For here I'm called John Barber, he said, but I'm the Duke of New Cumberland. And before you could give her 1 guinea, I would give her 10,000 in hand, I would give her 10,000 in hand.
Oh,
Johnny Barber.
gorgeous.
Johnny Barber. So another example of a ballad that traveled from, in this case, Scotland, to New England and upstate New York. And the story's the same. But a few things have changed.
Speaking of the story being the same, I loved the ways in which it matched with Green Wedding, especially because they're both Scottish songs.
Right.
That I loved that it was like, he's wearing green, and the mention of the merry men also made me go, wait, what? I don't know if you saw me do that, but you were singing, and then I went, wait, what?
Yeah, there's something about green, and this is another thing to dive into. Why green is so prevalent in a lot of these ballads.
Well,
why they're wearing green.
He is stealing her away again. He is stealing her away from her dad. But,
okay.
But he's not a fairy, so I don't know.
No, but he's not who he is.
That's true.
He claims he is somebody who he's really not.
That's true.
You know, he's and Willia Winsbury's the same thing.
Right.
I mean, he's just this guy, according to everybody, and then all of a sudden he's just this rich nobleman, and everybody's going, huh? Really? Okay then.
Huh?
Okay then. In fact, there's a verse that I forgot, that I've left out, and I need to remember it, and it's where the father says, if I was of the female kind,
Oh, it's true.
my companion or his companion I would be. So the father's saying, yeah, he's a pretty good looking dude.
Every version I know of Willia Winsbury has that.
Has that in there, and I forgot that it was in there. So so we have got 10 more minutes.
10 more minutes.
10 more minutes. I'm putting on my glasses so that I can
Let's say hi to everybody. shall we?
Yeah.
Let's
Oh, well, I'm just kind of looking at who's here. Chris Coldaway.
Hi, Chris.
Chris is here. Margaret. Oh, Margaret. Oh, Kate. Kate's here. Kate
Which
from
Kate?
Kate Tram
Oh, hi, Kate.
from Sneep.
Hello.
And
I was like, yes, I am here.
yes, this is great. This is wonderful. So thank you all. So have we got one more? One of the problems again with being online was we couldn't sing together, and there was just no way we could do that. And the only time we were able to sing together was towards the end of May, beginning of June, when we started meeting here at Cate's. So that's why we really only have 2 songs that we practice and rehearse. But hopefully there will be more coming.
Well, I do have another song I could do. Unless anybody has any questions or you have any for me. Or, Deb!
Oh, Kate!
Robin Hood and the Peddler!
Oh, she wants Robin Hood and the Peddler.
I specifically asked her for this. I am collecting Robin Hood songs, as most of you know. And I don't just love him, I'm actively seeking old songs about him. And this is one that I heard you do it before I heard anybody else do it. And I like your version the best.
Oh. I stole it from June Tabor.
No stealing, they're meant to be shared.
Robin Hood and the Peddler. I don't know what number this is, but then I don't bother with those kinds of little details. Some people do. You know the number.
Oh God, I bet I do.
Oh my gosh.
I bet it's two something.
I'm sure one of the Lynn's or one of the others in there.
Somebody's gonna tell me.
Who's going to tell us what number it is?
Yes.
In the meantime,
if you tell us, you get a shout out. I'd give you a better prize.
I'll get you out. I'll send you a cat picture.
Ooh.
So this is Robin Hood and the Peddler, and one of the reasons I really like this ballad is that nobody dies. There's a lot of sweat distributed, a lot of blood distributed, and but nobody dies, and I just always find that really nice. I have a friend who does have a database of. She has counted all the deaths of all the deaths in the child ballads, and I think there's a ballad of the ballad of the Battle of Culloden, and I think that was the winner. So
that reminds me of when you taught me about the Highland clearances.
Oh yes,
that's a whole thing.
So Robin Hood and the Peddler. There chanced to be a peddler bold, there chanced to be. One of them was bold Nope, that's not right. How can the peddler be Robin Hood? How can that be?
I mean, you never know. He was a master of disguise.
That's true. There chanced to be a peddler bold, there chanced to be. He wore a pack all on his back, and he went forward o'er the lea. There chanced to be two troublesome men, there chanced to be. One of them was bold Robin Hood, ooh. The other little John so free.
He's cool too.
Oh, peddler, peddler, what's in thy pack? Come speedily and tell to me. I've several suits of the gay green cloth, and silken bowstrings 2 or 3. If you have suits of the gay green cloth, and silken bowstrings 2 or 3, then by my body, cries little John, 1/2 your pack does belong to me. Oh no, cried the peddler bold. Oh no, that can never be. There's not a man in fair Nottingham shall take 1/2 of my pack from me. The peddler he pulled off his pack, and he set it down little below his knee, saying, if you move me 1 perch from this my pack, and all shall go with thee. Then little John he drew out his sword, and the peddler by his pack did stand. They fought until the blood in streams did flow, and he cried, "Peddler, pray hold thy hand." And Robin Hood, who was standing by, and he did laugh most heartily, saying, "I could find a man of smaller scale, could thrash the peddler and also thee." "Go try your master," cries Little John, "go try your master most speedily, for by my body," cries Little John, "I'm sure this night you will not know me." Then Robin Hood he drew out his sword, and the peddler by his pack did stand. They fought until they both did sweat, and he cried, "Peddler, pray hold thy hand." "O peddler, peddler, what is thy name? Come speedily and tell to me." "Oh no, how now, my name I ne'er will tell, until your names you have both told me." "Fair enough, I'm bold Robin Hood, the other's Little John so free. The peddler says it lays to my good will, that my name I do tell thee. I'm Gamble Gold of the Gate Green Wood, I've travelled far beyond the sea, for killing a man in my father's land, and from my country I was forced to flee. If you're Gamble Gold of the Gate Green Wood, who's travelled far beyond the sea, you are my mother's sister's only son, what nearer cousins could we be? They sheathed their swords at the friendly words, and they did laugh most heartily. They went to a tavern, and there they dined, and bottles cracked merrily. Robin Hood and the Peddler.
Thank you. A peddler, by the way, was somebody who went around selling usually metal items.
Lizzie, Maggie says Lindsay, or Leezy Lindsay. Of course, Country Dance Caller says Child Ballad 132.
Oops. Thank you.
And, Gown to Green Velvet and in Lakes of Coolfin, to see Willie's funeral. It was a grand sight. There were 24 young maids. They were all dressed in green. Mary Garvey.
Hi, Mary.
Hi, Mary. And, so there we have it.
What a great verse that is.
Well, we're coming to our close. So I want to thank everybody for coming and hanging out with us
Thank
here.
you all so much.
We really appreciate it. And again, go to the Connecticut Historical Society, and you can check out what the SNEAP program is all about, Southern New England Apprenticeship Program. Mm-hmm. And if you want to find out more about me, you can go to debracowan.com and see my website. I actually put up a blog post for the first time since January. Wow. And I'm also on Facebook at Debra Cowan Music. I'm on Twitter, Debra Cowan Music, Instagram, Debra Cowan Music, and that's about all I have time for. I also have an account on Bandcamp. That's where all my downloads come from. So if you are in need of downloads, go to Bandcamp. And I have a few thousand CDs in my cellar that I'd really like to get rid of. So if you fancy some CD music, let me know. Go to the website, send me an email, and I'd be glad to hear from you. Where are you on the web, Kate?
Well, if anybody wants to find me, you can find music things at Cate-Clifford.com. That's a dash as in a hyphen, and Kate with a C. As opposed to Kate Schramm with a K, who, by the way, I would very much like to thank. Yes, that was a segue on purpose.
Yes. Thank you,
Thank you, Kate. Thank you
Kate.
for being here. Thank you for all your help. Thank you, Winnie. Thank you, Meg, is it?
Maggie.
Maggie, I'm sorry. This is
Holtzberg.
what happens when I don't know you. Oh no. And everybody who made Sneak possible. But yes, if you'd like to find me, you can go to cate-clifford.com or Kate Clifford Music on Twitter or Instagram or Facebook. And I am so excited to sing with you all soon now that I am vaccinated in safe ways.
Me too.
Yay.
I also want to...
and I want to thank Deb also for teaching me everything.
And thank you, Kate, for agreeing to do this. But I also want to do a little teeny bit more self-promotion. I'm doing my very first live performance this Saturday at Lakeview House Concerts in Sharon, Massachusetts. If you're within spitting distance... please, it would be so great to see you, and it'll be so nice to sing with people and hear voices singing on choruses. And if you can't get there, I'm actually on July 22nd doing my second live performance at John Davidson's Club Sandwich. Yes,
Love it.
That John Davidson that we all saw on Johnny Carson and the talk shows, and I'm really looking forward to these. But it would be great to see you at these live performances. So thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
Really
Sneak.
appreciate it. And if somebody missed this performance live, it'll be up on YouTube, and the link is the same. Send them the link, and they can watch it at their leisure.
Just, when Deb asks me for my first ballad, just skip it. Just skip it.
No.
Because there's supposed to be about 25% more ballad there than there was.
No. It was beautiful. Thank you again.
Thank you, everybody. Have a great night. I'm so excited to read these comments.
Take care. Take care. Bye-bye now.
Bye. I want to read the comments now.
I hope they don't disappear.